Oh there, wanderer. Stay thy course a moment to indulge an old man.
My name is Elminster Eomar, wizard by trade, poet and gourmand by vocation, and chosen of Mystra by anointment. Before I was any of these things, however, I was royalty. My father was a prince, born into the frightening and warring world of Alathantar politics. He wanted away from it all. Courtly intrigue was no longer intriguing to him, and he didn't care for the danger anymore. So he retired to the village of Heldon, met my mother, and had me. I knew I had royal blood, but my father made damn sure it never went to my head. Still, father was training me in whatever ways he could to live a good life, princely in form if not in reality. I, once in a while, lamented the riches or the powers I could have held, but I was content until the day my father's royal past caught up with him. I was just a boy, barely 10 summers, when my quiet world was taken from me. A monster came to my home, no dragon or goblin horde, but a man, Udral, 1,000 curses on his name. He was one of Alathantar's mage lords, and with a cruel word and swave of his hand, my family was gone. Burned to ashes before mine eyes by the terrible arcane power he wielded. I only survived because I hid and was rescued by the enemies of the mage lords. I was taken far away into the hills to grow amongst brigands and crestfallen knights, self-proclaimed freedom fighters. By the age of 16, I had become a seasoned killer. That's what my life had been thus far. Practice. Practice to face Udral so that he would meet the same fate as my family, or worse. I would destroy him and his foul magics. Would you believe that at this point in my life, I hated magic more than anything else in the world? After all, what honor is there in felling your foes from afar? With a flick of the wrist, a whisper, and they catch fire, or you rain hail and lightning, or worse. Still, these blood-soaked years of my youth weighed heavy on my heart. I had a realization that it would never end. No matter what these brigands claimed, they were naught but bandits. They would never actually strike at the mage lords. I wouldn't get anywhere like this, I told myself. Udral is still out there, as are the other mage lords. I needed real training, real weapons, real money, if I were to have my revenge. It was then I decided to head to the city of Hastral, change my occupation to burglar. Hardly an honest trade, but it'll get me closer to my goal. And if nothing else, I can avoid more senseless death. I made quite the name for myself in Hastral. It wasn't long before I went from petty burglar to heading an entire gang of thieves and pickpockets. The Velvet Hand, we called ourselves. Smooth, quick, we could rob anyone and leave not a drop of blood behind us. The good times were brought to an end with this last job I did. It was to steal from the Magister of Mystra, a man named Stonecloak. He caught me, but instead of turning me in or turning me to stone, he asked me if I wanted to learn magic. Magic? Can you believe it? The very thing that took my family from me? Nay, I cried, never. I will never practice that most foul of arts. I tore from that place, my lust for revenge greatly reignited. All I could see was the face of Udral as he'd burned my family to a crisp. I struck out against the mage lords themselves not long after that, and it went poorly. My plots were thwarted, and I was now out in the open, mage lords and city guards at my throat. They looked ready to kill me right there in the street, when a light appeared. A brilliant, radiant light, shimmering with so many colors I could hardly describe it even now with my much wider vocabulary. The light coalesced into the form of a woman, the most beautiful and commanding woman I have ever seen. Mystra. the goddess of all magic. I felt such a storm of emotion then. Here stood the very embodiment of the thing I hated above all else. She was magic, the same magic that took my life and my parents away from me. Yet, I could not form my hate into any words or actions. I think I managed to sneer at best, but tears were running down my face. Overwhelming emotion of every kind. Mystra spoke not a word. She merely changed me. She saved my life by turning me into a woman. The guards didn't know what happened. They didn't see the light or the goddess. A moment they were chasing a young man, then they were chasing a young woman. I decided to roll with it. I took on the name Elmara. It was still me, I had all my memories, but now I felt different, physical changes aside. I was closer to magic. Why she didn't just give me that without changing me into the fairer sex, I haven't the foggiest. And to be fair, I felt I wore the female frame quite well. I lived as Elmara for several years, tutored in the ways of magic by Lady Talithin. So much had changed in such a short time. The arcane arts I so despised. I grew into them. They became a part of me. I will never forget my mother and father, but my hatred for magic in those days began to dwindle, like an ice cube left in the hot summer sun. My desire to take back Alathantar from the Mage Lords remained, however. Perhaps I could use their own arts against them, outclass them at the very magic they sought to wield. I eventually revealed my true identity to my teacher. I feel like a fool saying it now. Of course, she was Mystra in disguise the whole time. With my newfound arcane abilities and the allies I had made, I shed Elmara, and I stormed the capital of Alathantar and deposed Undral. My revenge finally at hand. Undral revealed himself to be inhuman. A Malagrim, an alien foe against whom even the strongest spells were all but useless. It was a hard fight. I lost many friends that day. But in the end, Undral was slain. I was at a crossroads yet again. My goal complete, my revenge fulfilled. What good was magic to me now? In those moments I felt the old hate bubbling back up, the old wound of resentment. I would have forsworn the use of the arcane entirely, had Mystra not revealed herself to me once more. When she offered to make me her chosen, how could I say no? It was about that time I started wearing my standard wizarding appeal, and yes, the pointy hat does indeed help with spellcasting. I was now chosen of the Lady of Magic, and fully embracing the arcane, but I wouldn't find my true potential for some time yet. I shall end my chronicling of my histories here for now. There's a warm bed, a hot meal, and a lovely, cool red vintage waiting for me back at my home. But fear not, for Elminster shall return. Until we meet again.
Shout out to all my patrons for voting on this video topic. Thank you so much, you guys really go the extra mile in supporting me. And of course, thank you to all my wonderful viewers, you are the reason I do this. Elminster has a long and storied history, so his video will have to be in multiple parts. If you want to see part 2 or more videos like this, then like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, and tell me your favorite bit of Elminster lore. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!